Hey guys, college football update week 12. Tons to cover as always. Kind of a dog of a weekend, but we still have some stuff that we can go over. We'll start with Notre Dame Syracuse as always, and then we'll work in from there. So let's start with that Notre Dame game. So obviously everybody going in, including myself, thought it was going to be a whole lot tougher than it was. Eric Dungey going out in the first quarter had a lot to do with it. But I got to be honest, he threw an interception, and he didn't look like he was doing a whole lot in the first three series anyway. Notre Dame would have won the game even with Dungey in there, and you can't tell me otherwise because Notre Dame was, I think, 3 of 7 or 4 of 7 in the red zone, so it should have been 40 something, if not 50 something, to whatever 17, let's say, whatever you want to say. But Syracuse may have scored a couple of touchdowns with Dungey in there, but I got to tell you, I mean, there was just nothing happening for Syracuse on offense. I will say I need to give a ton of credit to Syracuse's defense because Notre Dame did not do a ton in the run game. I think that has a lot to do with Notre Dame's offensive line just not being as good as I would like them to be and I would hope them to be. And I'll tell you, that's going to be the biggest detriment for Notre Dame if and when they were to play a Clemson or if they were to somehow get past Clemson and play Alabama. I just don't see it. I mean, the offensive line is just not there without Alex Bars, who is Notre Dame's best offensive lineman. Obviously, they lost Quentin Nelson and Mike McGlinchey from last year. I think the offensive line is certainly above par and above where most other offensive lines would be, but there's not really gelling at the moment, and there's too many young guys playing. So I think that's going to be a huge issue for them going in. But I think I mentioned this. I mean, again, Syracuse's defense just did not give up the entire game. I just a ton of credit to them. They were never in it. The offense was doing nothing for Syracuse, but their defense really tried, really hung in there. So I give a ton of credit to the coaching staff. Dino Babers done a heck of a job at Syracuse. I mean, it's look, Syracuse has done nothing since Pasqualoni, and that was 15 years ago, however long ago that was. So they're 8-3. I mean, they could still go 9-3 and go to a big bowl game. I mean, that's more than Syracuse has been able to do in a very long time. So if you're a Syracuse fan, hey, Notre Dame, I think, is better than most people give them credit for, including myself. I thought Notre Dame was going to lose 3 games going into the year. Obviously, that's not going to happen. So, hey, it's still a good season. Still a good season for Syracuse. So, hang your hat on that. It's going to be interesting to see what Notre Dame does this weekend against Southern Cal. Rivalry game. I realize Southern Cal is not very good, and a lot of people are going to say, well, Notre Dame should kill them. I get it. It's a rivalry game. It doesn't necessarily matter, and it's at Southern Cal, and you're going from New York City to South Bend back over to California. The travel has got to be wearing on them. So, I think that is going to play a part. I just, for me being a fan, obviously, of Notre Dame, I just hope they don't, I hope they play up to the level of their potential and don't allow Southern Cal to hang in the game. So we'll see what happens. But really, it's a dream season. I don't even know what to say. I'm absolutely shocked at how good they are. It's very exciting for me. I mean, I 2012, I realized that they were 12-0, but it kind of always felt like a little bit of a I don't know. I'm not sure what they're going to be able to do. I feel pretty confident in this team. I mean, I think they can give anybody a game at least for a half, even if it's Clemson and even if it's Alabama. So we'll see. I mean, obviously I'm a little scared of both of those defensive lines, but we'll see. So yeah. I mean, the dream season continues. Yay! All right. Ohio State, Maryland. I'll tell you, I think the biggest thing with Ohio State, I think this Urban Meyer thing had a lot more to do with, has a lot to do with them having a poor season. And look, it's the gelling of a team, right? And if something like this happens leading into a season, that's why I think it's quite incredible that Maryland's been able to do what they've been able to do. I get it. I mean, people on the outside and the periphery would look at it and go, well, they're 5-6. I understand. I mean that they could be 2-10. I'm not, or 2-9, whatever. I'm not even sure how they've won 5 games, and they beat Texas, who's pretty good. So Matt Canada should get a lot of credit, and maybe even perhaps get the nod as their coach going forward. I mean, it's Maryland. What do you want? I mean, you fired Friedgen, and you haven't been good since. Friedgen was your best coach, and somehow Kevin Anderson, the AD at the time at Maryland, thought it was a good idea to get rid of Friedgen. Most ridiculous. I realize he's curmudgeon-y. I get it. But most coaches are, and especially most good coaches. So Maryland, idiotic for ever having fired him. But let's not get on that tangent. Ohio State, I just don't think they're very good. And will they? Can they compete against Michigan? Of course, they can compete against anybody if they really want to play to their potential. Just don't think they're going to be able to beat them. I think Michigan's good enough to be able to pull it off this year, but we'll see. Oklahoma, Kansas. I mean, are we done with this Oklahoma ridiculousness? I mean, 40 points to Kansas. Puka Williams, I love him. I love Puka Williams at Kansas. I think he's fantastic. There's all these guys on these terrible teams, and Puka Williams is one of those guys on a really bad team, but 55 to 40, and he had over 250 yards rushing. Puka Williams did for Kansas, 250. Kansas had, I think, 348 total yards rushing in that game. Come on, I mean, you cannot be considered to be in the playoff picture when you're giving up 40 points to a 3-7 team coming in and 350 yards rushing. I mean, we're done with it. And here's the thing. All right, so I'm going to bring out some props here, guys, okay? So here's, I got my two Aquaman here, all right? I get it, I have dolls. I don't know. But somebody bought these for me because I love Aquaman, but let's not get into that. All right, so here's the thing. So here's the Big 12, all right? So here's a defense in the Big 12. All right, this is how far apart they are. Remember I was talking last week about space? All right, so this is space, all right, obviously. All right, this is the SEC. This is how guys cover each other in the SEC and the NFL. All right, you're all over each other, okay? This is how it works. Big 12, Kyler Murray, here he comes. All right, yeah, this is pretty funny. Here he comes. Nobody's near him, and he's so great, he's so great. Well, I mean, there's nobody near him. So, all right, enough with the props. What are we talking about? I mean, if nobody is near you for 10 to 12 yards, what's going to happen? I mean, you're going to be able to scoot away and do what you do. So I'm tired of the Big 12. I'm tired of Oklahoma. Let's stop talking about it. They're not going to make the playoff, nor should they make the playoff. It's ludicrous to even discuss it. We're going to talk about Kansas hiring Les Miles in a minute as well. Oregon, Arizona State. Look, I said this last year when Arizona State hired Herm Edwards. I said that they would be the exact same team. They are the exact same team. They're 6-5. Other people, again, if you listen to ESPN, they're going to say, well, they're playing really well because they all love Herm Edwards. They refuse to talk badly about him. But they're 6-5. They're always 6-5, okay? Maybe they finish 7-5. Fine. They go to the bowl game. They either finish 8-5 or 7-6. I'm telling you right now, look up Arizona State's records over the past 25 years. There are a couple sprinkled in there where they win 8 to 10 games. 8 to 10 games, okay? Todd Graham, by the way, won 10 games, I think, 3 years ago at Arizona State, and they fired him last year, but whatever. Every now and then, they will win that many games, but the majority of the time, they win 6 or 7 every year, and they're doing it again. So enough with the Herm Edwards ridiculousness, because Arizona State is exactly how they always are, 6-5. That's it. That's all I'll say there. So let's talk about coaching, hirings, and firings. Colorado getting rid of Mike McIntyre. Look, Mike McIntyre is one of my. I love him because he's one of those guys, and I talk about this all the time. If a guy can win at an absolutely awful program, he can win anywhere. So he won at San Jose State before going to Colorado. Colorado hires him 2 years ago. He wins 10 games. I realize. I think last year he was 5-7. This year he's 5-6. Lost 6 in a row. It's not a good look. You're Colorado. I mean, Colorado had a bit of a heyday there in the 90s. I get it. But look at Colorado's history. I mean, this is not an easy place to win a game or to win games. So, I don't know. I think if he had been able to pull it out, go 6-6, take him to a bowl game, that should be good enough in my mind. I mean, I get it. Not a good look to lose 6 in a row. And they were 5-0 with a really easy schedule, but I don't know. I think at some point you got to take a step back and realize who you are. You're Colorado. I mean, that's enough, and they would say, well, we won a national championship. So did Georgia Tech at around the exact same time. What has Georgia Tech done since then? No offense to Georgia Tech fans, but I think we all know Georgia Tech, 7 or 8 wins a year. Nothing wrong with it. Totally fine. There's a reason they haven't gotten rid of Paul Johnson. He wins enough to stay. They understand what they are, and that's fine. Kansas hiring Les Miles. I got to say, at first I thought it was ridiculous, and I still kind of do a little bit, but it's Kansas. I mean, I said this, last week I said hire a coach who runs the triple option, have a little fun with it, do something else. I don't know. Just trying to add some life into something. I think Les Miles is going to do that. I mean, he won a national championship. Do you think Kansas is going to get a coach that has won a national championship other than somebody like a Les Miles? No. So if anything, at least he might add some excitement to the program, which is really all you want. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I just I cannot see him being a ton worse. What's interesting is that Les Miles is not known for offense, obviously, and he's going to a conference that is only known for offense. So it's going to be interesting because if they have a good defense and no offense, I would love to see it because it would just befuddle the Big 12, and it'd be hilarious if he beat somebody like 10-3. I would just love it. I think it would be fantastic. Southern Cal wanted to get rid of Clay Helton. So the only thing I'd say there is beware of what you might do, because if you look at, again, me being a Notre Dame fan, Notre Dame going 4-8 in 2016. A lot of people said to get rid of Brian Kelly. I was not one of those people because, again, I don't know who they would have hired. I don't know who Southern Cal is going to hire. I'm sure I could come up with 5 or 6 names of who they could, but it has to be the right fit. Maybe Clay Helton isn't the right fit. I don't know. But are they underperforming? Yes. If they beat Notre Dame, which I hope wouldn't happen, but if they did and went to a bowl game, I don't know. Sometimes you just have a down year. You just don't play as well as you could. He's also playing with a freshman quarterback, which seems to happen every year to Southern Cal. I'm not sure why they do that. They don't, they don't keep a quarterback for 2 to 3 years. It's very weird how they don't have somebody waiting in the wings all the time. But anyway, they seem to do it. One other prop, by the way, and yes, this is another doll. It's pretty hilarious. This is my Arkansas Lou Holtz doll. I'm not a doll collector. I'm gonna state that right now, and that's at 100% true. But I do love this one because, as you can see, you got a little, I'm pointing to a little Arkansas thing on there. Isn't that exciting? Doesn't he look great? All right, guys, listen. College football's the best. I hope you guys are enjoying it, and we'll see what happens this weekend. We'll just have to wait and see. All right, guys. See you later.